Morning, guys. Here with the update on what's been going on with the truck. As you can see, my beard is getting pretty full. I've decided I am not going to shave until I get the cab on the truck, get to a point where I actually have this truck's drivable condition. It's going to be a while before it's actually done, quote unquote done, but I need to have it movable. And I've been delaying, dealing with other stuff, admittedly, but still, this has got to get done. This is taking far too long. So, it's my motivation. Let me turn this around. So here is what I worked on yesterday. My handbrake assembly. This janky looking mount is what took me probably, I don't know, maybe 4 hours of measuring and drilling and trying and going to the store and finding weird parts and adjusting. But I finally got it. So for the first time since I've owned this truck, I have a actual functioning handbrake. It's always been in the truck, but it never actually worked because, so here's the old one. It's the drum style. And you can sort of see there's that material there, that braking material. Well, that's gone. It's always been gone. These things overheat, catch on fire. Nobody's ever really liked them, but the point is you pull the handbrake and it pushes this down and it tightens that band around the drum. It's connected to the axle. The drive shaft. And it just locks it into place. And then you adjust it here to see how much you need to tighten it. But let me see, I got this old one in here somewhere. Where's that old one at? Oh, it's right in front of me. So this went on here. So as you can see, it's a piece that's part of the transmission, not a piece I could just unbolt. Whatever. But it goes on there like that, and then the pawl bolted into here. And the little piece did that thing there. All the mechanism went through there like that. So it was a bit of a struggle trying to get accurate measurements off of the various things. Not impossible, but just a little slow going. But I got it figured out. First time around, I made it, and I came off the center line of the shifter, forgetting that the whole point that I had this, the shifter flag on here is that the center of the shifter is too far back from the bell housing. So this is actually the same bell housing from the transmission before. It fit right up onto my new Tremec transmission, which is superb. But these are the original mounts, so this is actually where the original transmission began, right here. So that was my constant point. So I'd measure back to get my center line here, but I was also measuring from the center line of the shifter of that old transmission over forward. The jets are running this morning, but it was about a ½ inch offset to the back for the shifter, or I'm sorry, for this lever. So at some point along the way, I just started using that measurement instead of off of the bell housing, and that's what screwed me up. So this whole assembly was actually over here, and when it was all done and I got it all bolted up and I looked at it, I realized what I had done. I didn't even have to wait and figure out the hard way. I just looked at it and knew it. So I had to take it all back apart. I had to fabricate a new piece for this, get it all done. That was part of the reason it took as long as it did. But anyway, with this truck, turn the camera around. With this truck, I love this truck. I love driving it, and it's just a good old truck, But when I would tow a trailer with it, when I would even try to back up to hitch onto a trailer, I'd have to back up, stop, turn the truck off, put it in gear, get out, check my hitch, get back in, start it back up a little bit, shut it off, put it in gear. It was a real pain. You know, putting boats in the water, pulling them out, same sort of deal. Have to turn the truck off, stick it in gear, worry about the thing falling out of gear and rolling into the water. So having this shifter is really one of my favorite things. There's a lot of good upgrades here. You know, the 5-speed transmission, instead of having to, you know, go down the road, you know, making 65 miles an hour using 3,800 RPMs of power, I'll actually be able to have it more like 2,200. What's up, Jim? Hi, buddy Jim. What are you into? I'm just making a video for my page. Oh. Update on the truck.
Oh, the yellow truck.
The yellow truck page.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's a gray truck at the moment, but I'll get that. That's actually one of the next things I'll be working on here. But yeah, as I was saying, the 5-speed transmission is going to get me down the road. Good fuel economy, proper speeds. Of course, my front disc brakes, which, you know, when it rains with the drum brakes, some of you guys know, you lose your stopping power. Like 40% of your stopping power is diminished because your brakes are wet. So I don't have to deal with that anymore. Intermittent locking up because they're wet or oily or whatever. Happy with that. The coil springs, sway bar suspension, all that's, you know, awesome stuff. And of course the new engine, which is underneath this plastic bag. I'll pull that out later. Ooh, I got a slit in it. That means water's been getting in there. That's not good. So it'll be a fresh engine, of course, all these good things. But that handbrake, I'm telling you, is going to be the one that I'll be so happy with, for sure. Well, maybe the air conditioning, I don't know. So anyway, today is going to be, oh yeah, I put the shocks on too. I had to, because this is a new front cross member here, front end assembly. The original brackets, which came off at an angle like this, didn't match up, of course, with how this connects in. And this actually, see, this frame is just straight and flush. The donor frame had this little dimple. You can see there's a dimple there, and the bolt comes in at an angle, and you have a stud. I don't know where the stud is. It's around here somewhere. But anyway, you have a stud. So none of that worked. So forget it. I just fabricated up these little ears for that. And I had to get new shocks. I replaced these shocks not too long ago, but they were already shot. I don't know what the deal is with that, but hopefully these ones last a little longer. And yeah, you know, another thing I'm really not sure about is when I dropped the front end here, I expected that this spring would collapse, and I'm worried now that my control arms are too tight somehow, because it doesn't move. I mean, I could jump up and down on this thing and it does not move. I don't know if maybe those springs are too heavy duty. Maybe they're for the diesel version. I don't know, time will tell. But anyway, today, plan is to get my brake lines for the front hooked in. Not really sure how I'm gonna do that. I'll figure something out though. But I just need to tie the two ends in and bring them up like this guy here is. That's for my back brake. And then I believe that's it. And then I can start putting the engine in. But that's going to be some work too, admittedly. I have to get my measurement off the bell housing here to the face of the bearing. I'm feeling a little crunchy. because that distance back and forth has to be set for the clutch, so that when it goes in here, the clutch fingers, which it rides against, there has to be a nice tiny bit of space right there. You don't want it actually riding on it, but I gotta figure that measurement out, get that on here. That'll probably be all day, just getting that, that stuff done, getting the rest of the flywheel and clutch and everything mounted up on this guy, and then setting the engine in here. Another thing I'm gonna have to do at some point later on is my exhaust manifolds. I'm gonna put these back on for now because they'll work, but I'm gonna buy new ones. I'm gonna buy headers, and I'll take it into the shop and have them redo it. I'll probably just get an all new exhaust system. This one is, I think, let's see, it was, I don't remember, before Hurricane Irma or after? I think it was after Hurricane Irma. It's not that old. They tell me it's stainless steel, but honestly, it looks like it's just regular old metal. So I think I'd like to have just a stainless exhaust. I don't want to have to keep replacing the stupid thing. Salt water and everything down here is not good. And so anyway, once I I forgot about the power steering. This was a pain in the butt. So I bought this adapter plate because the truck didn't have power steering. It didn't have an option back then. So this adapter plate claimed that you'd be able to put a power steering model from 87 and prior directly to bolt into this using the existing holes. Well, I was able to use two. I was able to use two of the existing holes. I think two. Maybe I did have to drill that one. I don't remember. But trying to figure out, the orientation this way and the new pitman arm and how this connects to the steering rod. I mean, even right now, all of this stuff is not exactly engineered properly. It's just kind of in here. I had to reuse some of the bolts, the bolt holes in the frame to reassemble the new front end, but it seems like it's forward just a little bit, which is now running into this. Not a lot. I mean, it's just barely grazing it, but it is. And from looking at it, it does look like the rod is bent maybe a little bit. But trying to figure out the tilt of this thing, since this adapter didn't really fit quite right, has been a challenge. This new pitman arm is got a drop to it, The old one was straight, which brought the whole thing up further. I had to put this idler arm, let that kind of float for a while until I got everything done. There were several moving parts that needed to be aligned at first, like all at the same time. So I finally got it done. We'll see how it works, but the problem I think I recognize now is because there's this gap right here of whatever that is, 5/8 of an inch maybe. The whole thing is shifted over, which is pulling that steering rod over that much, which pushes the tie rods out that way. So as you can see, my space inside the sleeve, the adjustment sleeve, there's a big chunk that I had to chop out from either side of the tie rod, because when I tightened this down the whole way, they ran into each other, and the wheel was still crooked this way when the steering was straight. The other side I didn't have to do anything with because it's pulling it that direction. And you could see now that the steering pitman arm is straight, but if you look down the center, the side of the frame, there's no knuckle there. You look down the center here, and there is the tie rod arm. So that should be further back. So the alignment is all shifted over that way a little bit. I don't know how that's going to perform. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but we'll see. Whatever it is, it'll be worth the inconvenience, being able to just loosely steer the wheel, especially like I said when I'm doing trailer stuff. Having to fight with that thing is like wrestling a bear. Alright, so anyway, let's see what I was saying. I don't know, I can't remember. Assemble the engine. Get it all mounted, drop it in there, get things hooked up as much as I can. I've got to order a new stick shift that'll actually mount to that. And then I'll be able to paint the back side of this. I got a little rattle can of the yellow that I'm going to be using. I'll just paint the back side where it's going to be against the bed that you won't see it. And then it'll be time to put the cab on. So, excited. Lots of stuff still to do. But like I said, my focus right now is to get it operable. Even if I got to drive it around a little bit to go, move a boat. I don't care if it's funny to look at. I want it running sooner rather than later. So I've got to paint the wheels, get to a point where I start considering tires. You can see they're starting to get a little crackage in there. These tires are from 2000, shortly after I got the truck, which was 2015, I guess, summer of 2015. They're 7 years old. They're not bad, they got good tread, but start thinking about tires. So anyway, that's the update. The boat, that's the other one. So a lot of you guys who follow this page, follow the MV Andromeda page and wondering what I've been doing there. I haven't really been doing much of anything there. I've been busy with other things on the tikis, rethatching the original tiki. I replaced the front deck. I put the generator into a compartment in the closet area. Did a bunch of wiring. Working on the truck still, dealing with all kinds of other things. I've had to play shuttle captain for a while because my shuttle captain left, and I'm in the process of finding a new one, but in the meantime I've got to do it. So I haven't really had time to go to the Hatteras. So not much happening there, but once I get this project here squared away and I get the thatching and everything else done over on the tiki, I feel like I'll be able to commit more time to that. But of course, by about that time, I'll be heading back up to Pennsylvania for a visit with the kids. I actually am supposed to be there right now, but because of the captain issue, I can't leave yet. But hopefully that'll be all resolved by the beginning of the month. So that's what's going on right now. I'll check in later.